Today we're looking at a Challenger Misfortune game so we can see exactly what the top level players are doing, how they win their games, so hopefully we can get better at Misfortune ourselves. Hello my fellow Misfortunates and welcome to this Challenger level gameplay. There's a lot of things already going on here. For example, they warded the Tribush, which is interesting. They're probably trying to not get cheesed by the enemy jungler, making sure they're not getting invaded. And they also fake leashed, so they went to lane a little bit later than they had to make it look like their jungler started bot side. It's a small detail, but you can certainly implement that in your own games as well. And right now we see the fight for level 2 happening. Enemy bot lane still needs to take down one more melee minion. Misfortune bot lane 2 more. Yeah, that's going to be fishy. Okay, we get level 2 first. And this makes a big difference. You see, they did not respect the level 2 power spike. And they didn't get it. Now Ashe turns level 2. Way too late. Way too late. So Senna's already dead. No, not Senna. Lux is already dead. And Ashe now obviously struggles to keep up 2 versus 1. Yeah, so Misfortune is a great advantage. Let's talk about runes real quick. This player went for a somewhat standard / still experimental crit rune page with Press the Attack and Nimbus Cloak, but with Celerity as well. So obviously this is not meta. This amplifies what... Hang on. Okay, so Mastery. Lee Sin with the gank. Obviously numbers advantage. Senna just... No, Lux just respawned, dies again. Once more, all of this came from the level 2 power spike, from the enemy not respecting or not being able to push fast enough and not respecting the fact that our Misfortune bot lane here will get level 2 first. And this is so devastating. All of this snowballs from this one mistake. This really gets to show how hard Challenger players are snowballing off of every single opportunity. Right there, perfectly coordinated dive. Senna tanked the tower for 2 shots, which gave Misfortune and Misfortune and Lee Sin a free dive. Okay, back to the rune page. We typically see from Challenger players who play the crit Misfortune build the page of... are they going for this again? Okay, so the repeat gank. Again, huge numbers advantage. 3 versus 1. Lux also didn't have the opportunity to buy much. She essentially is on her base item still. And again, she dies in the 3 versus 1 situation. Still, this situation is... That's tight. Yeah, okay, he gets this. But yeah, this situation is still snowballing off of the level 2 power spike. This also shows how much of a snowbally game League of Legends is. And look at the advantage our Challenger players could generate against their Challenger opponents right now. Misfortune returns to base at minute 5 with a BF sword and boots. Okay, finally, let's talk about the runes. So, yeah, this Misfortune player is typically also playing with Gathering Storm instead of Celerity. However, in this game he decides to experiment with Celerity. There's no particular reason for it, I don't think, looking at their team comp. It doesn't really help against much, maybe against... no, not really. Well, in my opinion it's also wrong, you shouldn't do this. If you want the extra movement speed, you should go for Magical Footwear, Biscuit Delivery, or just for Nimbus Cloak, Gathering Storm. Well, yeah, in general Gathering Storm just holds more value because Misfortune needs attack damage desperately. Attack damage, the best stat on this champion. And, well, this player typically also goes for Gathering Storm. This is just an experimental rune page he used there. And, yeah, now they returned back to lane. The blue side, I think blue side is the bottom side, right? The blue side team, the Misfortune team, also should try to snowball their early advantage into an early Drake, further increasing their lead. But right now, they need to clear that wave, they need to make sure that CS stays relatively high. Misfortune has a 15 CS advantage over Ashe, which is another kill worth of gold, essentially. 15 minions equals roughly 300 gold. Ashe trying to compensate with a double Doran's purchase, but it's obviously way worse in an item buy than 1300 gold BF sword. So blue team obviously exerting having lane priority, exerting all their pressure. And there's little that the red team can do at this point. So Ashe and Lux just need to sit there and kind of take it. With lane priority, whenever you push the lane in, you should look to get a ward in the jungle, or a deep ward in the... hang on, okay, she's not going for a gank. They are indeed trying to get dragon, but yeah, if you have a lead like this is a good place to get down a ward, because you cover both of these camps, and just see exactly where the enemy jungler is if he wants to camp you. But as I've predicted, they are using their early advantage to take Drake. Again, due to the item disadvantage for red team, they are unable to contest this. It's just not possible. They can't stop them. And after taking that, yeah, obviously you want to catch your wave. You push in the wave first, then you go for a roam. In this case, Misfortune looked for a play in the mid lane, but then as her jungler joined the dragon pit, decided to help with that dragon as well. And because the wave was pushed in earlier, the minions accumulate and push back into Misfortune, which allows her now to slow push the wave into the enemy tower, potentially getting another dive. Whenever you crash a huge wave into the enemy tower, which will happen eventually, this is a freeze right now, but as soon as the enemy bot lane arrives, the freeze might be broken, and then you slow push again. And again, blue team might use that advantage to dive the enemy under tower. Lux now returning to bot lane, which is necessary because Ashe cannot farm against fed Senna plus a Misfortune ever. I mean, it's 8 minutes into the game, so there's no way she doesn't even have ulti to bail her out. So yeah, now Lux is back in lane. Now they're able to crash the wave under tower, which inferentially guarantees that the blue wave will slow push towards the enemy. So right now, blue team can no longer freeze because of how minions work, or the wave resets in the middle, but it's still not a freeze. So they can either hard push or slow push. Since the jungler is topside, as we see here, it would be best for them to hard shove the wave and then look to deep ward. Again, jungler is topside, they don't know where the enemy jungler is. So yeah, as you saw, they cleared the wave. This is a very awkward spot. The wave is outside of tower, just barely. Okay, Misfortune not getting caught. They have level 6 power spikes, so now they're looking to all in. Alright, Senna just uses her ulti top lane, which is a viable play. You see all of the enemy and allies are essentially top lane, which means hard pushing cannot be punished. Enemy are top lane, so they can't be bot lane to gank Misfortune and Senna. It's logically not possible. So yeah, we see Misfortune ult coming out there, applying some pressure but failing to get the kill. However, with that big an HP advantage, the enemy bot lane can't really stay and defend anymore. So they need to disengage. They need to go base because they risk getting dove. And while basing means okay, so they didn't base, at least Ashe didn't, Lux maybe did, but you see exactly that happens. They stay, they get dove. When you have such a big HP disadvantage, oh, that's so painful. He A-clicked? That's so painful. He A-clicked and auto-attacked a ward because of attack move. Had he executed this perfectly, then he would have gotten Lux and he would have punished them for staying low HP with item disadvantage. So yeah, red team getting away with this because of a misclick from blue team. And because of Kazakh's presence. So yeah, that was quite unlucky. But now Misfortune could get some items out of her CS and kill. Well, she didn't get extra kills, but out of her CS. And obviously first item Essence Reaver. So early Berserker's Greaves, which is an interesting option on Misfortune. But the thing is that Misfortune doesn't typically use attack speed as well as other AD carries because she has a lot of upfront damage in her passive and her Q auto combo. However, Berserker's Greaves is not an excessive amount of attack speed and it's still good movement speed. And it allows you to trigger your press the attack keystone quite reliably. So it's an okay choice. And at the same time, she does have the attack damage components for Essence Reaver, so it's not like she has 0 AD. But keep that in mind, you need attack damage on Misfortune. It's the single best stat you can get on this champion. So yeah, the typical crit build that the pro players and most challenger players are going for right now is Essence Reaver, Infinity Edge, and Rapid Fire Cannon. This Misfortune player does deviate from that build path a little bit, because he still goes for triple crit, which I'm not too big a fan of, and if you know this channel, then you also know why. Because I think buying Zeal items that give 0 attack damage is not really a good look on Misfortune, but it's definitely possible. However, this person, he doesn't go for Rapid Fire Cannon, but for Phantom Dancer 3rd instead. And first I thought this might be because of the matchup, so he is safer against Kha'Zix and Kassadin, those two assassins, and also against Nasus with the Spectral Waltz movement speed. This should be fine, right? Yeah, it is. Again, they are 2 levels behind. Misfortune's level 8, Ash and Lux are level 6. So despite getting that good engage, while Misfortune's cleanse was on cooldown, they were not able to win this. Which again shows you how hard League of Legends snowballs. If this was an even game, then this Misfortune would have just died right there. But again, if you are ahead, you can make more mistakes without getting punished because you're just that much stronger than your opponent. So once more, Rapid Fire Cannon is an interesting item on Misfortune because of the passive. Misfortune's Q range is also is always the same as her auto attack range. So while the attack is energized, you get the extra range from Rapid Fire Cannon on your Q as well. So you can actually Q auto the enemy with 700 range. But again, the item doesn't give any attack damage, so I think it's a little bit problematic on Misfortune. However, it is quite popular. With Phantom Dancer, you still have the same issue. It's also a 2600 gold item with 0 attack damage on it. But, I mean, it's still viable. Crit when you have Infinity Edge is never really a bad thing. And right now, our bot lane got a good base in there. They pushed the wave after the enemy died, so the wave would slow push towards them right afterwards. They collect all this farm. Master Yi, why do I keep saying Master Yi? Lee Sin ganks, kicks the Ashe, and she should die. Perfect. Yeah, that's exactly what happens when you're behind in League of Legends. Oh well. And this is also why you should necessarily always push the wave in before you recall if you can. Because again, that ensured the wave pushed all the way back to our bot lane and forced the enemy bot lane to overextend to get farm and experience. Which inferentially, or not, well, that's not the right word, which in turn enabled Lee Sin, got the name right there, to make this play. Again, bot lane dead, pushed in the wave, ensuring the wave resets, but while the wave resetted under tower, they used that time to take dragon. Again, very efficient, exactly what you want to do in that kind of situation. Just very basic macro play. Here as well, push past river or push under tower, and then either roam or recall and then roam or go back to lane. In this case, they recall because they have a lot of gold. Misfortune able to finish her Essence Reaver, and that's an interesting purchase actually. So, Infinity Edge can be a little bit awkward to get because its cheapest component is 800 gold. This Misfortune bought Double Dagger, preparing the Zeal item she wants to buy right after Infinity Edge. And since she didn't go for the Doran stacking early item build, she does have the slots to do that, so she's not sitting on her gold. This is also a very important concept in League of Legends. If you have a lot of gold, you're not actually that strong, because you need to first spend the gold on items that give you combat stats to get stronger. And this is the problem with Infinity Edge. You might be sitting on 600 to 700 gold in the worst case, not being able to even afford the cheapest extra components you can buy. And this Misfortune just bought a Double Dagger. It's a fine purchase. Yeah, they just completely abuse their item advantage. Danger pings coming out from the blue team. I'm not sure why. Even if they get ganked here, they're fine. They're both full HP. And this is not punishable. So now, again, the wave pushed under tower, and Misfortune can now take the tower because it's low enough and she's strong enough. And the same concept, push past river and then roam or recall. Okay, so she stopped her recall. But this is fine. Typically this is quite risky, but she has her jungler and her support with her, so it's unpunishable. So actually very good that she stopped her recall and enabled that play right there. But now she recalls because, again, you need to spend your gold. If you don't spend your gold, you are really not that strong. And now she can buy an extra BF sword working towards Infinity Edge. And when at her next base, she should look to complete that item, because right now there are no components she can realistically buy. Maybe she can upgrade to Zeal, but that would be almost the price of an Infinity Edge. Yeah, Gangplank not happy with Misfortune coming top lane. There's always an interesting consideration where you should go next after you recall. In this situation, the correct choice would have been mid lane initially, because, well, first of all, you have the Gangplank top, you saw him being angry, spam pinging there. And secondly, you need to still take that mid lane tower. Bot lane wouldn't make sense, because there's no wave for you to farm. Okay, right now it resets in the middle, but still, you can push mid lane past river and then roam bot lane and get the farm, which is exactly what she... or is it? It's what I would do. But again, I'm just a Diamond 2 player, so what do I know? Okay, so Ahri covers bot lane. The point is somebody needs to cover bot lane, and if none of your teammates are doing it, then chances are you should be doing it, especially when you're playing such a nimble champion like Misfortune. And again, Ahri covered this, so Misfortune could stay mid lane, trying to apply pressure to that mid lane tower. Mid lane tower is, by the way, the most important objective you need to take when you want to win a game of League of Legends. When you don't take mid lane tower, chances are you're not going to win the game. Because towers are not just protecting you, they also, well, they're not just protecting you directly with their damage, they also are a very important sources of vision and minion wave control. And if you can't shove the minion wave into the enemy territory, you won't see what the enemy is doing, because minions are also tiny walking wards that give vision and show you where the enemy is heading. Additionally to the tower being not longer being there, so they can't see where you invade their jungle. And mid lane tower obviously covers 2 jungle entrances, this one and this one, which is why it's so important. Okay, so again, they pushed the wave and the wave resets in the middle, and then Misfortune based and bought her items. She was able to get her Infinity Edge, which is a huge power spike. With any crit build, before you get Infinity Edge, the build is rather mediocre. But with Infinity Edge, well, at least the version of the current live servers, you will always start popping off. And red team with a dive here, but this is a little bit of an overstretch, or what? Yeah, an overstatement or a stretch, because they are that much weaker. Flash? Yeah, easy double kill. No chance they outrun a Misfortune. This Misfortune player does go for Q max, which is a mistake. I'm fairly positive, because you should only max Q while you're in the lane phase. You have 3 points in Q for lane, but then you should always max W by level 10. Especially when you go for an overheal build. Even more so when that overheal build is also a crit build. In case you don't know, I mean, you probably do know if you watch this channel, but in case you're new, in case you don't know, well, when Misfortune is shielded by overheal, for example, it's impossible to lose the passive W movement speed. So, it's just a match made in heaven, maxing W to get maximum value out of that. Also, obviously, your Q cannot critically strike with the first hit, only with the second. And if you want good damage against your primary target, W max is your biggest DPS increase. Again, push past river, slightly past river, Cassidy pushing back already, but push past river, recall or roam. In this case, again, recall, buying an extra cloak of agility, which is fine when you have Infinity Edge. And now red team was finally able to take down that mid tower, which gives them, again, a chance of winning. As long as you don't take mid tower, you have no chance of winning. You need to take the mid tower before you try to do anything else, really. After the lane phase, that is. During lane phase, just taking the enemy mid tower is just not possible because of platings and because of, well, how the meta is right now, or how the meta is optimally played in League of Legends. People covering every lane, right? You can't just go and attack the mid tower without losing too much. So, again, taking mid tower is your most important thing. to do after the 14-minute mark, after the platings have fallen. That's probably something I should specify. Yeah, same concept. Misfortune pushes the wave past river and then looks to go somewhere else. Push past river, roam. Standard ADC macro play. In this case, trying to maximize her farm, taking chickens camp or raptors or whatever they are. Trying to keep the CS high. And it shows. It's a 21 minutes game so far, and Misfortune is at 209 CS, which is almost 10 CS per minute. It's actually more like closer to 9 CS per minute, but it's close to where you want to be when you play an optimal game of League of Legends. Again, push the lane past river, roam. Push mid lane past river, go somewhere else. In this case, they spotted the Kazakhs and they tried to punish them in a 3v1 situation, but, well, last cone, he gets away. Not much to do there. Again, continue your roam. You just were mid lane's pushed, there's not much to do there. They move bot lane and kill Nasus with numbers advantage. Again, easy play. One more thing you need to keep in mind, against that team comp, with Nasus, you typically need a reliable source of healing reduction. An Executioner's Calling would be the easiest pickup for a Misfortune player. However, in this case, she doesn't really need it, because Gangplank already has one. And Senna can also purchase one. She didn't purchase an Executioner's Calling yet, but she definitely should against that team. So Misfortune can use the item slots more effectively. Also, Mortar Reminder is a very important item for Senna to buy anyway, because of the utility and how easily she applies it to multiple targets. This Kassadin should die, right? There's no way he gets away. Yeah. Yeah, he had nowhere to run, really. Gangplank covering from this side, and the rest of them just chasing him through the jungle. That's pretty straightforward. And with that advantage, they should probably just pressure Baron at this point. Recall, spend your gold. She could probably buy Phantom Dancer. Yeah, there we go. Phantom Dancer for Misfortune. And with that amount of attack speed and crit, you are quite effective at taking down Baron. So when you want to take down Baron, you first of all need to make sure there's a control ward in the pit. That criterion is met. So you need to, so you can make sure the enemy doesn't know the Baron's health bar. Obviously, when they place a control ward themselves, okay, the control ward has just been replaced. But yeah, if you want to take down Baron, you need to make sure the enemy cannot see its health bar. Now Baron gets pinged. Senna has a control ward, Lee Sin also has a control ward, so this should be fine. Again, take down the enemy vision, make sure they can't see anything, place the control ward as close to Baron as possible. If you place it like here, it's not safe. You need to place it close to Baron, so it also covers the far back of the pit. And you are absolutely sure the enemy does not see its health bar, because if they see the health bar, you risk them stealing Baron from you, either with like a long-ranged ability such as Lux Laser, or just with a simple Kha'Zix jumps over with Blast Cone and tries to outsmite your jungler. You don't want that to happen. That's an unnecessary that's an unnecessary risk that might throw you the game. Again, our team is grouped. Misfortune is incredibly fed, so they should easily win any fight that breaks out here. Now they take down this other dragon. Again, this is risky. They can't make sure... Yeah, Lisa needs to jump over. Needs to make sure Kha'Zix is not there. And then they can take dragon safely. With this bush here, it's kind of awkward. You need to place a control ward in the bush, actually, or else it's not covered. But yeah, you need to make sure the enemy jungler is not nearby. And optimally, that the enemy cannot see the jungle monster's health bar. Doesn't matter if it's a dragon or if it's a baron, you don't want it to get stolen. Definitely. Okay, now Misfortune recalled for the next push, getting a double longsword. So again, she probably wants to buy a Mortar Reminder this game. Also, another very strong item is Bloodthirster on Misfortune, not only because it gives 80 attack damage, but also because of the fact, as I've explained earlier, Misfortune's W synergizes very nicely with shields. And Bloodthirster is just another shield that stacks on top of your overheal shield. So it's probably one of those two items that she wants to buy right now. And now with Baron, you definitely want to take as many towers as possible. If you look at the minimap right now, you will see that in mid lane they can only take 1 tower and 1 inhibitor, but in top lane they can take 2 towers, 1 inhibitor. In bot lane they can also take 2 towers, 1 inhibitor. So ideally speaking, they would not be pushing mid lane right now, but top lane or bot lane instead. So Gangplank, for example, might be pushing top lane, and the rest of the team might be bringing Baron buff to bot lane. And right there, the shield from Phantom Dancer definitely coming into play, saving Misfortune's life. That was a little bit of a blunder, but because she's so incredibly fed, she gets away with that play. Ocean Drake's Soul also playing a role there. Yeah, okay, now they ace them. Now they just take down this tower. Now it doesn't matter. Had this fight not broken out, you need to always think of what can the enemy do. And had the enemy not fought there, they could have tried to defend this tower more easily than any of the others. But now that they're aced, they just push in and take down their base, take down the base towers and win the game. Yeah, that's how challengers play Misfortune. If you want to see more Misfortune content, then click the link on your screen right there. A big thank you to all my Patreons and channel members. If you want to become a Patreon yourself, just go to patreon.com/mfdb. But if you rather save your money, you can support me for free by clicking the like and the subscribe button.